Okay. So, yeah. Okay. Hi. Hello, everyone. I I would start the session now. So, to to briefly tell you about my introduction, who am I and what do I do? I probably I'm unable to see who all are live. So if you are live, you can just in the comment section put hello. Hello. Yeah. Okay. So hi everyone. Uh, so this session with me is on opportunities, job opportunities in the EV industry, right? It's very essential, for an educator or for somebody who is into the skill development skilling industry. It is very important that they should understand who all are the audience, right? Who all are the one who had joined the session, right? uh, इट कैन हैपन दैट अगर मैं हिंदी में बोलूँ तो हिंदी में आपको बेटर समझ में आए. इंग्लिश के कुछ ऑडियंस हो सकते हैं जिनको इंग्लिश में अच्छी तरीके से समझ में आए. सो in the mid way, if you are unable to understand whatever I am going to say, just raise your hand and you can say, hi sir, can you explain this in Hindi? So I'm comfortable in both Hindi and English, right? So these are the two language, or maybe you can say I will be using Hindi plus English to explain the concepts, right? Whoever has joined till now, welcome to this session. And in the comment box you can just say what is your educational background, the highest educational background that you are having. इसमें कुछ ऐसे भी हो सकते हैं, they are engineers, somebody might be BSc graduate. So a bit of your introduction, I can see the names here, but who you are, what is your educational qualifications, so that I can put down my content in such a way that will be useful for you, right? Okay, great. So B computer science, BTech CSC, mechanical design engineer. Vaibhav has done BCA. Okay. Anyone would like to mention what sort of background? Computer science. Okay. Okay. So I see almost uh, 70% of the audience here is from the computer science. I see one, Chetan from mechanical design engineer, Tapas from diploma. Good, good. So we have a sort of mixed crowd here, and the beauty of what we are going to discuss right now, जो भी हम लोग अभी डिस्कस करेंगे, is that electric vehicle is something that you will find is applicable to every domain of engineering or non-engineering background. I mean, EV is a field in which a BCA guy or a diploma guy or a computer science guy has equal opportunity in the EV domain as compared to what a mechanical or an electrical electronics student or a professional has, because this is an interdisciplinary field. We are not going to sort of restrict ourselves on the technical side, right? So if you see electric vehicle as one single domain, electric vehicle has the technical part and the non-technical part, right? In the technical part, we have starting from the very basic. So when I say very basic level of understanding on a technical subject, that starts from an ITI, right? ITI, diploma, polytechnic, these are the technical domain, right? On the upper side of the technical domain, you have your engineering domain, that is your BTech, BTech computer science, BTech mechanical, BTech electrical, BTech electronics, BTech mechatronics, and then you slowly goes up and up. You have MTech, you have PhD level of specialization in the EV domain, and that's how you divide the technical domain, right? In the non-technical side, you start from the very basic of the level of education. You can say it starts from on the management side, it starts from BCA, MCA, BBA, MBA, and then you have uh, all other ancillary domains. You can say BSc, MSc, BSc Physics, MSc Physics. There are people who are actually working in the EV industry who has done commerce in their as their major subject, and they are doing a part of non-tech in the EV domain. And I will tell you which all domains are mapped to what all kind of job roles. That is the significance of this particular session, right? I'm here to tell you where you can fit and how you can fit yourself in the evolving electric vehicle industry. So when we started teaching electric vehicle, I mean, we started back in 2016, 8 years back. The overall global penetration of electric vehicle at that time was very less. And if you now see the level of penetration of electric vehicle on the road, it has changed drastically. So over last 8 to 10 years, the level of uh, data sets that we have acquired by looking into all the different kind of professions or the job roles in the EV industry has actually helped us to map this on a very broad level, right? There are few students who belong from computer science and they say ki EV is a mix of uh, technology from the mechanical and electrical and electronics. That is not actually true, right? Uh, Currently, we are working on AI and ML in electric vehicle. We are launching a program with IIT Kanpur in artificial intelligence and machine learning of electric vehicles. So it is now going to be a subject where almost 70% of the technology has to be taken from the computer science domain, right? Uh, Okay, there are different sort of questions I see in the comment section. I will go one by one, but I have a brief presentation. Presentation is because I wanted to sort of give you an overview of how these job roles are mapped. Once that is over, I can come back and uh, give you the the overall overview of this. Okay, great. So I will start with my slide on this. Just give me a minute. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay, on a broad scale, if you see the, I will start from engineering background because I see here a lot of you are, I mean, almost 70% of you are from the BTech industry. Uh, so if you look on the overall engineering side of the electric vehicle, we have automotive engineer, we have mechanical engineer, we have manufacturing engineer, we have chemical engineers, electrical engineers, power electronics and computer science engineers, we have material science engineers and environment engineer, right? uh, for any one of you to grab the knowledge of electric vehicle, of course, some level of basic understanding is required, right? So let's say that someone has done their BTech as an automotive engineer. I will start from the very first topic. First, the qualification, education qualification. Now, if somebody has done a BTech in automotive engineering, they would be there is high chance that they would be absorbed in the designing segment of electric vehicle, right? This mapping is just to show you that most of the automotive engineers who has a sort of qualification in the automotive engineering domain goes to design segment of electric vehicle, but it is not 100% true that all automotive engineers will go to the design segment of electric vehicle. It is, you can say, an major approximation of how automotive engineers are going to be absorbed in the electric vehicle domain. Similarly, mechanical engineers are part of the feasibility study of electric vehicle. When you say feasible, how feasible the overall structure of an electric vehicle is going to be, that is mapped with mechanical engineers, right? So similarly, manufacturing engineers goes to large scale production of electric vehicle. uh, Chemical engineers goes to the battery segment as a major portfolio of the overall absorption of engineers. Electrical engineers are majorly working in the drive train, that is the overall power train of electric vehicle. We have power electronics and computer science engineer who are working in ECU and, like I said, AI and ML in electric vehicle. Then we have material science engineers who are there in the production of materials which is required for manufacturing of electric vehicle. So on a broad side, these are some of the engineering side of the electric vehicle domain. Now let me come back because I don't want it to be very one way sort of communication. I also want to give you a sort of idea of how the overall industry is mapped. So let's take an example. We have just worked on the engineering side. I will now come back to answer a few comments, and then we move forward, right? Okay, so I will start from the last comment and then go up like this. uh, रेहान मलिक, सर सीवीटी का कोर्स करने के बाद जॉब प्लेसमेंट मिलेगी आफ्टर कोर्स? ओके, नाउ अगर आप कोई भी कोर्स करते हो, आप किसी भी पोर्टल के साथ करते हो, आप इंटर्नशाला के साथ करते हो, इंटेलीपैड के साथ करते हो, आप इंडिया में ऑलमोस्ट ऑलमोस्ट ऐसी 10-15 या हो सकता है 20 ऐसी प्लेटफॉर्म्स होंगी जो इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल की ट्रेनिंग में वो कंटेंट दे रही होगी या वो सपोर्ट कर रही होगी स्टूडेंट्स को प्लेसमेंट में। आप किसी भी प्रोग्राम को ले लो, चाहे वो पीजी प्रोग्राम हो या सीवीटी हो दे नेम डिफरेंट सॉर्ट ऑफ नेमिंग इज देयर, राइट? सो कुछ 3 महीने के प्रोग्राम्स होते हैं जिसे सर्टिफाइड इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल टेक्नीशियन ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम्स बोलते हैं। कुछ 12 महीने के प्रोग्राम होते हैं जिसको पीजी प्रोग्राम बोलते हैं। एवरी company has different nomenclatures which they use for an indicative course name. So the question of Rehan is that क्या ये कोर्स करने के बाद प्लेसमेंट मिलेगी? माई क्वेश्चन टू यू इज, आर यू केपेबल एनफ टू अंडरस्टैंड? क्या आप के पास वो क्षमता है कि आप सीईवीटी में जो भी आपको चीजें पढ़ाई गई है, आप किसी और को वही सेम कंटेंट पढ़ा पाओ, राइट? सो व्हेन समबडी इज अ good learner, there is a very popular saying, yesterday also I was there in a panel, और वहां पे ये डिस्कशन चल रही थी कि ऐसा क्यों है कि बच्चे जो प्रोग्राम्स करते हैं, चाहे वो इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल के प्रोग्राम्स हो या एआई के हो, मशीन लर्निंग के हो, वो इस नज़र से देखते हैं कि नहीं, ये प्रोग्राम करने के बाद मुझे प्लेसमेंट मिलनी चाहिए। इट्स वेरी गुड दैट यू हैव एन ऑब्जेक्टिव इन योर माइंड कि नहीं मुझे, बिकॉज अल्टीमेटली रनिंग अ लाइवलीहुड इज व्हाट एवरीबडी डज इट फॉर, राइट? बट प्रॉब्लम क्या आ जाती है कि द होमवर्क दैट दे नीड टू डू टू मेक देमसेल्फ एम्प्लॉयबल इज समथिंग दैट आइदर वो नहीं कर पाते हैं या इंस्टीट्यूट उस चीज को नहीं दे पाती है। नाउ जो होमवर्क करनी चाहिए किसी भी प्रोग्राम के लिए, चाहे वो पीजी हो, चाहे वो सीईवीटी हो, ये होमवर्क ऐसी चीज है जो आपको अपार्ट फ्रॉम द टेक्निकल नो हाउ, राइट? जो अगर आप सीईवीटी के स्टूडेंट हो, आपको ज्यादातर टेक्निकल डोमेन में जो हैंड्स ऑन की डोमेन है उसमें आपको ट्रेनिंग दी जा रही है, आपको टू व्हीलर टेस्ट बेंच पे ट्रेनिंग दी जा रही है, आपको चार्जिंग स्टेशन पे ट्रेनिंग दी जा रही है, तो आप उस चीज को समझ के अगर किसी और को समझा पाते हो, बिकॉज एट द एंड देयर वुड बी अ पर्सन हु विल कम एंड से कि बॉस आपको ये चीज पता है, आपको पता है कि अगर टू व्हीलर में कोई फॉल्ट आती है तो कैन यू डायगोनाइज दैट फॉल्ट? आप ऐसा कर सकते हो कि इस टू व्हीलर में मुझे ये आप बता दो कि अगर कंट्रोलर खराब होता है तो मैं कंट्रोलर को कैसे डायगोनाइज कर सकता हूँ, राइट? दैट कॉन्फिडेंस इज एक्चुअली व्हाट मेक्स यू एम्प्लॉयबल, राइट? ये चीज जो है आपको खुद से ही कॉन्फिडेंस आनी जरूरी है। अगर ये कॉन्फिडेंस आपको नहीं आ रहा है तो आपको प्लेसमेंट, मैं क्या, पूरे दुनिया में कोई भी आपको प्लेसमेंट नहीं दिला सकता है, राइट? तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि जो आप चीज ग्रैब कर रहे हो, चाहे वो हैंड्स ऑन तरीके से हो या वो आपके ऑनलाइन तरीके से हो, यू शुड हैव दैट कॉन्फिडेंस कि मैं किसी प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व कर सकता हूं। और लिटरली आज के टाइम पे जितनी जॉब्स टेक्नीशियन के लिए है, हम सब ने सुना है ओला के साथ क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम हुई है, राइट? ओला, द मेजर फॉल्ट विथ ओला वाज दैट they were unable to understand what problems customers were facing, and उसके लिए जो डिप्लॉयमेंट होना चाहिए, फॉल्ट डायग्नोस्टिक ट्रबल शूटिंग जो टू व्हीलर की होनी चाहिए, वो उनके पास वर्कफोर्स नहीं था, राइट? सो एट द एंड एवरी कंपनी who has launched their either two wheeler or four wheeler is hunting technicians like anything, right? So answer for Rehan is, of course, that can be done. It is almost 70% your contribution and 30% is the training institute contribution. हम लोग किसी को लर्नर बना सकते हैं, राइट? किसी को लर्नेट नहीं बना सकते हैं। ये हमेशा डिफरेंस आप याद रखना। कोई भी, चाहे कोई भी ट्रेनिंग इंस्टीट्यूट ले लो, वो सिंपली लर्न ले लो, किसी भी ट्रेनिंग इंस्टीट्यूट की बात करो, अगर वो इंस्टीट्यूट ये आपको बोलता है कि मैं आपको एक लर्नेट इंसान बनाऊंगा, तो दैट इज दे आर फॉल्सिफाइंग, वो गलत बता रहे हैं। आप किसी को लर्नर बना सकते हो। आपको अगर मैं सीईवीटी की ट्रेनिंग दे रहा हूं तो आपको मैं जो स्टार्टिंग के फेजेस होते हैं, मैं आपके अंदर क्यूरियोसिटी डाल रहा हूं कि आप इस टू व्हीलर में क्या चीज इंटरेस्टिंग है, क्या ऐसा है जो आप सॉल्व कर सकते हो। एंड वो 3 महीने के ट्रेनिंग के बाद जब आप एक्चुअली में इंडस्ट्री में अपना पैर रखोगे, देन यू विल गेट टू अंडरस्टैंड कि हाउ क्रिटिकल एंड व्हाट अदर डोमेन्स आर देयर विच यू कैन एक्सप्लोर। अगर आपके अंदर वो इंटरेस्ट है तो आप आगे बढ़ते जाओगे, राइट? बिकॉज यू आर अ लर्नर नाउ। लर्नेड इंसान में क्या होता है, आपने सारी की सारी डिलीवरी उस इंसान को दे दी और बोला कि दैट इज द एंड, राइट? ये कभी हो ही नहीं सकता है। अगर आपने किसी को लर्नेड इंसान बना दिया तो उसकी और नॉलेज एक्वायर करने की जो क्षमता है वो खत्म हो जाएगी। वो ये सोचेगा कि मैंने जितनी पढ़ाई कर ली, दैट इज द एंड ऑफ माई सिलेबस, इसके आगे मुझे नहीं पढ़ना है। एंड कई बार ऐसा होता है कि कंपनीज में यू गो एंड समबडी इज टेलिंग यू कि नहीं, ये प्रोसेस में आप ये एडिशन कर सकते हो, एंड देयर आर सम पीपल हु सेज कि नहीं सर ऐसा तो नहीं होता है। सो अनलेस एंड अनटिल यू हैव दैट फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी कि आप नई चीजों को सॉल्व करने की खुद से इच्छा आपके अंदर है, तो यू आर अ लर्नर पर्सन एंड यू विल ग्रो ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम। आज 1 साल में आप यहाँ पे हो तो 10 साल के बाद आप किसी अलग स्टेज पे रहोगे। लेकिन अगर आपने ये समझ लिया कि मैं एक लर्नेड इंसान बन गया, तो फिर आपको प्रॉब्लम होगी। आप हो सकता है कि 1-2 साल तक किसी कंपनी में अच्छे से काम करोगे, बट उसके बाद आपकी ग्रोथ बिल्कुल रुक जानी है, राइट? ओके। सो Prasad, I'm a diploma EC but working in EV testing. EV powertrain testing for me, need to upgrade to engineering is mandatory for better future. Please reply if required. Of course, I think because you are working in the EV industry, EV testing domain, and you are a diploma person from the ECE background, uh, I think जब आप प्रसाद, if you are working on that in that particular domain, uh, you have that vibe कि these are some of the areas where I actually need to work upon, right? There are people like Rehan who are starting their career in the EV industry, but for a person like you who is already there in the EV industry, you are very, at least on a scale of 1 to 10 you are somewhere on 5 and 6, right? So uh, you have to decide yourself ki whether you want to get into the testing and validation domain, or you actually want to work on the battery BMS, motor optimization, controller optimization, controller algorithm, or you want to enter into the charging infrastructure domain where you can uh, create that sort of uh, charging technology, let's say chargers for different platforms. So I think yeah. Okay, so I answered Prasad. Govind, sir, it is about software engineering. What does happen in EV industry? Okay, okay. So Govind, you are from which domain? If you can, computer science, right? Govind is from computer. Govind, I will tell you, coding has been the pillar of computer science. I was there yesterday in IIT Kanpur campus, and there was recruitment which was happening. And believe me, with us as a panelist, we were there as a company, and there were other companies also who were hiring computer science guys, especially for the coding work, right? And coding cannot be now considered as the pillar of a computer science graduate. Of course, logic and data sets will play a critical role. मतलब आज के टाइम पे एवरीबडी सेज कि आई हैव क्रिएटेड एन एआई मॉडल। अगर किसी का एआई मॉडल आपको अच्छे से टेस्ट करना है कि वेदर ही हैज क्रिएटेड दैट एआई मॉडल perfectly or not, you just ask him ki how they have taken a data set. उन्होंने अपना जो डेटा सेट लिया है उस एआई मॉडल के लिए, फ्रॉम वेयर दे हैव टेकन, एंड इफ दे से कि वो किसी किसी इंटरनेट से किसी रैंडम डेटा सेट्स को उन्होंने लिया है, देन दैट इज वेयर यू गेट टू नो कि it's half work done, right? You use iPhone, right? So iPhone may there is something like you once you just swing in your camera, it automatically opens. So there is a face detection mechanism, right? So you guys are computer science, you'd be better knowing this. Now, to train this particular model so that they can detect different faces, they cannot open this iPhone using a random person face. कैन एनीबडी आंसर मी कि कितने डेटा सेट्स एप्पल ने लिए होंगे अपने इस एआई मॉडल को ट्रेन करने के लिए? किसको आइडिया है कितने सारे कितने नंबर ऑफ डेटा सेट्स उन्होंने लिए होंगे? उन्होंने फेसेस लिए होंगे, राइट? उन्होंने रैंडम फेसेस लिए होंगे रैंडम इंडिविजुअल के. सो let's assume that the overall population of this particular overall worldwide is around how much? 400 CR, 500 CR. इस 500 करोड़ में कितने डेटा सेट्स उन्होंने लिए होंगे इस मॉडल को ट्रेन करने के लिए कि वो प्रॉपर तरीके से डिटेक्ट कर पाए कि ये फेस उसी पर्टिकुलर पर्सन का है? कैन यू डू एनीवन हैव आंसर फॉर दिस? You can comment, you can put down the answer in comment. So almost they have worked on 130 crores data set. So this is the volume of data that Apple has worked on to train the AI model, right? Now, this new BE6 EV6 that is launched from Mahindra, right? B6 Mahindra. If you just see the overall feature of this particular car which has been launched by Mahindra, you will get to understand that they have implemented AI and ML in the vehicle, through which कार जो है वो खुद ब खुद पार्क कर पा रही है, राइट? सो यू जस्ट हैव टू park it at one time so that the model will get trained, and after that you can get down at some distance from where your parking space is, and you just have to click on auto park, and the car will automatically park on that particular place. So all of this is something that computer science student has to do, right? The amount or the volume of data that an electric vehicle transmit over a period of time. So let's say ki there are different sensors which sense ki what is the current status of battery, right? How your motor is performing. So at every stage of time, so every second, that data is being transmitted to a server, and that sort of communication is called vehicle to grid communication. So there is a grid, there is a vehicle transmit the data to the grid, V2G communication. There are also communications which are happening between the vehicle. So there are two vehicles, the data will be transmitted between these two vehicles, so it is called a vehicle to vehicle communication. And then apart from the grid, there is an infrastructure which is called V2I communication. So this is a little bit this might be tough for you to understand, but the intent for me to say is that at one point of time your vehicle is communicating with many other devices or grid or say infrastructure. So it is V2X communication, it is called. And the amount of data that your vehicle will transmit to a cloud infrastructure like AWS and Google Cloud and all is humongous, is around every second the data that is being transmitted is in GB, right? So gigabyte of data is being transmitted and stored on a server, and that is why you will see, I don't know if you are aware that Amazon, Google, all of them have started building their cloud infrastructure at a very rapid expanded. They have expanded this overall cloud infrastructure. The Because they have understand that in near 10-20 years, if at all the vehicle or the automotive industry is going to change its technology, the cloud will play a very bigger role in deciding the overall decision parameters, right? If at all say ki autonomous car, which we say, I think some degree of autonomicity is already there in new vehicles which are going to be launched in next 3-4 years, right? Mahindra के vehicle में आपने देख ही लिया, this is your anti-collision sensors are there, which is now detecting that a person who is there on the road, and that will automatically apply the brakes and all. So the degree of autonomicity in vehicles are going to increase year by year, and that autonomicity will need a very huge amount of cloud infrastructure, and that's where the whole computer science is going to play a bigger role, right? Okay. Uh, let's move one by one. I will, if somebody can start the slide. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I'm considering a very practical model of an electric vehicle. Let's say that you are a person who has decided कि मुझे एक इलेक्ट्रिक गाड़ी बनानी है, खुद से बनानी है. Now, for that purpose, I'm taking an example of uh, of a two-wheeler that you have decided to design yourself, right? Now, for designing and launching that vehicle in the market, there are several stages through which you need to go, right? The very first stage would be that you would need a person who is sound electrical engineers. That person will decide what is the right combination of battery, BMS, motor, converters, which will be combined together to form the overall drive train, that is called as drive plus train, means drive train or power train. So in a very simple language, uh, I think I'm there in the office, I could uh, give you a sort of idea, but let's see, because the session will get bigger if I delve deeper into this. But broadly, if you see, an electric vehicle starts from the basic understanding of its components, right? The components that you are going to use in that electric bike or an electric four-wheeler, right? So first you decide on the overall परफॉर्मेंस पैरामीटर्स कि मुझे पावर आउटपुट कितनी चाहिए, मुझे माइलेज कितनी चाहिए इस व्हीकल की, व्हाट वुड बी the based on the mileage, I would decide what is the size of battery pack that I would require. Based on the battery pack specification, मैं डिसाइड करूंगा कि मोटर कौन सी यूज करने वाला हूं मैं. So then I have to find out the right combination of battery and motor, and then use the specified BMS, बैटरी मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम. मैं BMS खुद से डिजाइन कर सकता हूं, मैं BMS मार्केट में जो है. सो in India, if you see on an overall level, almost 80% of the vendors are assembling the electric vehicles, right? So because they buy the parts and they have pretty much better understanding कि मैं parts को किस तरीके से arrange करूंगा, and they do that. But if you start on a R&D level, right? If you actually want to delve deeper कि मैं मुझे पता है कि ये बैटरी पैक है, and that battery pack which I'm using has different sort of battery chemistry. So you have lithium ion batteries, you have nickel cadmium battery. Based on the chemistry of the battery, you get different cycle of the battery. Energy density change हो जाती है. So I will not delve much deeper into the technology part, but my intention is कि it is very essential and it is the very first stage where you are going to decide कि मुझे किस तरीके की बैटरी यूज करनी है, किस तरीके की मोटर यूज करनी है. And for that, even if you are a mechanical engineer or a computer science guy, you need some understanding on the electrical side, right? Because electrical, why I'm saying electrical, because electrical engineer is the one who takes care of the overall energy flow, right? How see, the energy source in a vehicle is your battery. How that energy has to be transmitted via motor to your wheel is the overall game, right? And an electrical engineer can guide you in a proper way how that energy has to be passed on, right? It has to be passed on via a management system, a sort of brain that would control how your battery is behaving in worst case scenario, how your motor is behaving, whether you have any sort of control on motor or not has to be decided via controller, right? So that is the first stage. Then you need someone that can design the exterior and interior and plan space utilization of vehicle, basically a stylist. So a stylist can come in different form, right? A stylist can be a mechanical engineer who know how to do the overall design and analysis of the vehicle components as well as the outer body. Before that, designing a, a sketch, a very rough sketch that you can do on pen and paper as a, so like the thing that we used to do in our 8th ninth class. We have pencil and paper, and we used to sketch a model of electric bike. So you can use a sort of automotive sketching software, or you can do it on pen and paper, and basically plot an outline that this is how you want your vehicle to look like. So you start with the sketching, that is the basic styling, overall outline you prepare, and then you model that outline in a CAD software. So CAD, once you do the CAD, you get to know that which are the space that is going to fit your components. You can also go vice versa कि पहले आपने डिसाइड कर लिया कि मुझे इतने साइज की बैटरी तो मार्केट में अवेलेबल है, आई कैन नॉट कस्टमाइज दैट, और इफ यू आर एबल टू कस्टमाइज दैट, यू नो कि इस पर्टिकुलर स्पेस में मेरी बैटरी आ सकती है. सो बेस्ड ऑन दैट यू स्टार्ट योर कैड डिजाइन. और ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि आप पहले कैड डिजाइन बना लो एंड देन यू फाइंड आउट कि इस इतना ही स्पेस बच रहा है, इस स्पेस में मुझे बैटरी फिट करना है. तो बैटरी फिट करना है, अगर आपके पास कम स्पेस है और आपको एक चार्ज में आप ज्यादा डिस्टेंस जाना चाहते हैं, देन यू वुड नीड, यू हैव स्मॉल बैटरी but you need longer range. In that case, you will go for a battery pack which is having higher energy density, right? So based on the initial setting, you start rolling forward, right? So stylists provide you a guidance on the specialized guidance to specialized engineers to work in their designated areas, or that's called domain. Then uh, okay, then you need someone that design your vehicle structure that can be optimized for vehicle dynamics and also ensure safety. Basically an experienced mechanical engineer or an experienced who has done who has some sort of experience in the automotive industry. So if you are thinking in such a way कि मुझे खुद अगर गाड़ी बनानी रहे तो मैं कैसे कैसे लोगों की मुझे जरूरत रहेगी, राइट, देन यू कैन ऑल्सो मैप कि अगर मैं किसी कंपनी में काम करने जा रहा हूं तो वो कंपनी कैसे कैसे प्रोफाइल के कैंडिडेट्स को लेना चाहिए, राइट. The thing that I'm telling here is the overall, it starts from overall design and development of electric vehicle. So एक स्टेज ऐसा आएगा कि जब आपकी गाड़ी मार्केट में जा चुकी होगी. So once your car or your two wheeler is in the market, then you need people who can market that product, who can ensure कि customer satisfaction is at its best, right? So वो एक अलग डोमेन है, राइट. डेवलपमेंट इज अनदर डोमेन, डिजाइन इज पार्ट ऑफ द डेवलपमेंट. तो इसको ऐसे बोला जाता है, इसको बोला जाता है प्रोडक्ट डेवलपमेंट लाइफ साइकिल. सो यू स्टार्ट developing the product from the styling stage. Now we are moving on the third stage where we are saying that we need to make sure कि हमारी जो व्हीकल है वो सेफ रहे डायनेमिक कंडीशन में. सो एक होता है, एक जब आप गाड़ी कोई भी प्रोडक्ट डिजाइन करते हैं तो आपकी वो प्रोडक्ट स्टैटिक कंडीशन में कैसे बिहेव करती है और वो प्रोडक्ट डायनेमिक कंडीशन में कैसे बिहेव करती है. तो स्टैटिक के लिए हम लोग स्टैटिक, सो इफ आई एम सिटिंग ऑन दिस चेयर एंड आई एम नॉट मूविंग, दिस इज इन द स्टैटिक स्टेट. बट इफ आई एम रोलिंग लाइक दिस, लेट्स से आई एम मूविंग लाइक दिस, then it is in the moving stage, right? So for this I would need dynamic analysis. I would not, it cannot be done with static analysis. So this is how you need to make sure that your product or your vehicle is behaving properly in the dynamic stage as well. Then you need somebody who can work on exterior and interior, who has worked with sheet metal and plastic. So sheet metal and plastics is something that in sort of form called as FRP, which is called fiber reinforced plastic. आपने देखा होगा ओला के मॉडल्स, एथर के मॉडल्स, आपने देखा होगा बजाज चेतक के मॉडल्स. तो आप ये देखते होंगे कि जो बाहर की जो स्ट्रक्चर है वो कैसा फील होता है. डू यू फील दैट इज मेड ऑफ कास्ट आयरन, एल्यूमिनियम, ऐसा कुछ आपने फील किया है, या व्हाट डू यू थिंक, व्हाट सॉर्ट ऑफ मटेरियल दे यूज फॉर दिस? एनीवन कैन टेल मी? व्हाट इज द आउटर पार्ट मेड ऑफ? उसमें आपने क्या देखा है अभी तक? माय वॉइस इज ऑडिबल, राइट? या मैं बोलता जा रहा हूं और आपको सुनाई नहीं दे रही है? फाइबर, राइट? सो दैट इज कॉल्ड योर फाइबर FRP, right? Fiber reinforced plastic. And this is a very you can say a hands-on practical knowledge has to be acquired for this. And that's why I say कि आज के टाइम पे आप ये देखो, जो भी हमारे पास मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की जो पाइपलाइन है is largely controlled by the guy who has done either diploma, who is a polytechnic guy or an ITI guy. And because engineers has increased in such a vast volume, there is quite a scarce amount of people who are actually going through the diploma ITI stages. और अगर वो जा भी रहे ना तो उनकी जो एक हैंड्स ऑन ट्रेनिंग होनी चाहिए इन सब चीज़ों के लिए, वो प्रॉपर तरीके से नहीं मिल पा रही, एंड दिस इज अ वेरी बिग कंसर्न फॉर गवर्नमेंट ऑल्सो. I was sitting on the desk with few people from National Skill Development Corporation NSDC, and they were saying कि आपने देखा होगा एक जेबीएम की भी बस आती है, जेबीएम की बसेस दिल्ली वगैरह में काफी चलती है. So I was also sharing the desk with JBM vice president, and he said कि Avinash, we don't need, right now we are at a stage where we don't need engineers, we need technicians, right? And when they say technicians, it can be an engineering guy who understand कि प्रैक्टिकल ऑन द फ्लोर या ऑन द ग्राउंड पे कैसे काम करना है. इट इज नॉट लाइक अ फैंसी रूम वेयर यू आर सिटिंग एंड यू आर जस्ट कोडिंग, बिकॉज कोडिंग तो भूल जाओ. कोडिंग मैंने बोला ना कि AI/ML मॉडल, अगर कोई ऐसे बोलता है कि मैंने AI मॉडल बनाया है विद some sample that I have taken from internet, that is not going to work. That ChatGPT is going to uh, basically ruin all of them. Now you need somebody who is actually who understand कि ये पूरी की पूरी FRP molding होती कैसे है. There can be automated robots which can be deployed to do that work, but at certain stage you need person who understand कि FRP molding करते कैसे हैं. तो इसके लिए हमें ऐसे लोगों की जरूरत पड़ती है who are good in hands on, and believe me, whether you are an engineer or an MTech student or have done BCom or PCA or whatever, maximum amount of your learning experience will come when you do things practically, right? इसीलिए हम लोग भी DIY गुरु में हमने ऑनलाइन कोर्स, एक सिर्फ और सिर्फ ऑनलाइन कोर्स को पूरी तरीके से बंद ही कर दिया. मतलब हमारे पास अगर कोर्सेज हैं तो ऑनलाइन प्लस ऑफलाइन, कोई भी ऐसा प्रोग्राम नहीं होगा जिसमें आप हैंड्स ऑन ट्रेनिंग किए बिना आपको इंडस्ट्री में काम करने के लिए एक अच्छे रोल पे आपको कोई भी कंपनी बुलाए. It may be a different models altogether for computer science engineers because they have to work on different mode states. But for manufacturing industry or for an industry which is producing something, some products are being produced, it is very essential that you have a proper knowledge of the overall hands-on part of that particular product. So you need people who can work with the styling part as well, right? That's where I was coming. Then fifth, you need someone to make or use electronic solutions to manage batteries, current, motors, and other control system. That can be infotainment system, that can be some safety triggering devices, which is like SOS devices whenever there is unsafe condition for that vehicle. So electronics engineers, right? ECE guys, or electronics communication, or electronics, or electrical, or here you can also add computer science engineers into this. So if you look on the overall battery parameter, right? So battery has some battery management system. If you guys are EV guys, you know battery management system कैसे काम करता है. But I know that few people here are from computer science and other domains. So battery management system you can consider as a brain for the battery, because battery में अगर आप चार्ज इस आईफोन को आप चार्ज कर रहे हो, इसमें भी बैटरी मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम है, राइट? अगर आपने चार्ज में इसको रखा है and you continuously keep on charging this particular iPhone, this will at certain point of time जो सेल्स लगे हैं इसमें, हो सकता है कि आपके चार्ज का फ्लो इतना ज्यादा हो जाए कि वो स्वेल कर जाए बैटरी, और इट माइट एक्सप्लोड. अभी तो इंडिया में ऐसा है कि या कहीं पे भी आप देखोगे बैटरी थोड़ी सी स्वेल कर गई, देन पीपल स्टार्ट पैनिकिंग कि यार अब तो ये बैटरी फटने वाली है. तो ये जो बैटरी मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम होता है, दैट टेक्स केयर ऑफ द ओवरऑल परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ द बैटरी, या बोलो तो एक सुपरविजन करता है बैटरी का कि बैटरी को किस कंडीशन में कैसे बिहेव करना चाहिए। अगर अगर उसमें 10 सेल लगे हुए हैं तो ये इंश्योर करेगा कि आपको कैसे कैसा वो होना चाहिए, कौन सा सेल जो है कितने घंटे तक चार्ज होगा और कौन सी सेल जो है वो की चार्जिंग कब खत्म होनी है। मैं एक बार आपको एग्जांपल दिखाता हूँ। Okay, so the thing that is there in my hand, right? So these are cells, right? These are the cells, and here, if you see, this is the battery management system, right? This particular chip, we have the PCB board. We design it in house. हम अभी embedded system kit बनाते हैं जो कि that is on another stage. I will tell you in some other lectures or what. But this particular battery management system is the brain of this whole battery, right? इसमें ये जो छोटे छोटे आपको दिख रहे हैं ये सारे cells हैं, right? So these cells can come in different forms. This can either be cylindrical, this can be prismatic. But this battery management system की जो algorithm डिजाइन करनी है, that is very critical, right? Sometimes it comes in built, sometimes you have to make customized BMS, right? किस particular performance parameter को you have to analyze. It can be done using different set of softwares, right? So in case of electric vehicle, primarily softwares that we use for this is MATLAB and Simulink. So someone who has understanding of the PCB board, who knows how these integrated circuits behave in different conditions, is going to help you with the controller part, right? So for battery comes battery management system. Similarly, for motor, there will be motor controllers, right? So controlling part of the product or the part has to be governed by electronics guy, right? So now you understand कि electronics वाले बंदे की कहाँ पे जरूरत है। मैंने आपको मैकेनिकल वाले की बताई, इलेक्ट्रिकल को बताई, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स की बताई कि इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स के कहाँ पे जरूरत है। I will go to the next level now, right? Then we need air conditioning experts to take care of inside climate of vehicle. So that's a HVAC, right? So HVAC is a concept where a person who is expert in the HVAC domain can take care of the internal conditioning. Now there can be a person who is from the thermal engineering background, right? So thermal engineering का जो expertise है in electric vehicle is how they control the overall rise in temperature of either motor or the battery. मोटर भी चलते चलते हीट अप हो जाता है, बैटरी हीट अप होती है। बैटरी की सबसे अभी जो सबसे क्रिटिकल पार्ट है इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल का इज दैट बैटरीज आर एक्सप्लोडिंग। नाउ हाउ डू यू मेक श्योर दैट दिस बैटरी डज नॉट एक्सप्लोड, राइट? It has to be somewhere analyzed by a thermal guy, right? So that's where thermal engineers comes into play. Sorry. Then you need experts of manufacturing. So many different components made of different materials, basically another set of mechanical. So manufacturing जो है एक mechanical का ही domain है. So it's a specialization domain which most of the mechanical engineers do. Now because so many different types of materials are utilized, it can be a material scientist. Material science से काफी सारे बीएससी जो लोग करते हैं या एमएससी करते हैं मटेरियल साइंस में, दे आर आल्सो वेरी वेल एब्जॉर्ब्ड इन दिस इंडस्ट्री. सो कई सारे जो पार्ट्स हैं इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल के, वो बिकॉज दे आर मेड ऑफ डिफरेंट डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ मटेरियल्स, you need people who understand those materials, right? We need someone who understands the rules and regulations of the laws of the land to meet mandatory regulations as well as make safe vehicle. So this is where I think one of our participant I was discussing, uh, somebody was from the testing background, right? So testing people, they primarily, work on this particular domain. They are called testing and homologation engineers. So any vehicle, right? So for those who are new to the automotive industry, कोई भी ऐसी vehicle है जो इंडिया में आप देखते हैं, right? Let's say I'm talking about B6 अभी आई महिंद्रा की, right? So B6 has to go through a lot of stages of approvals, right? Every part has to be tested, that is part testing. Then comes every system has to be tested, that is called system level testing. Then comes every uh, subsystem or system, or let's say product as a whole, the vehicle as a whole has to be tested. Its performance parameters, its range, the type of battery that they are using, whether battery is able to sustain a set amount of temperature, right? तो ये सारी टेस्टिंग जो है, that is carried away by certain designated government agencies, and the work of a testing and homologation engineer is that they make sure that whatever product you have designed, because I'm taking an example that you are the entrepreneur here, you are running a company where you need people who can help you to launch your product in the market. Then the testing and homologation guy work is that they will work on different, either they can work on a vehicle as a whole. तो एक आदमी का ये काम नहीं होता है इन a testing and homologation team. Usually जो बड़ी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस होते हैं उसमें यू विल फाइंड सम 30-40 पीपल. कंपनीज लाइक बॉस, दे हैव आई थिंक a team of 54 people who are working on testing and homologation side. So and gladly testing and homologation is my specialization. So I specifically focus on testing and homologation. Now तो ये जो स्किल सेट है that will come to you if you know the overall product cycle. मतलब at part you should also know the CAD, you should also know some part of the uh, battery side, some part of motor side, so that you can help your department. So every company has different department. Let's say that there would be a department who is working on motor, there's a department who is working on battery. Now the battery department will try to create the battery as safe as possible, but the government has certain set of norms. Government ने भी पहले से norms बना रखे हैं कि इस टाइप की हमें बैटरी पैक चाहिए. तो in that case testing and homologation engineer has to go through that rule book and make sure कि जो प्रोडक्ट बनने वाली है वो उस रूल बुक को एडहेयर करे. कई बार ऐसा होता है कि किसी कंपनी ने पूरी की पूरी प्रोडक्ट बना ली. फॉर एग्जांपल लेट्स से यू डू नॉट हैव एनी आइडिया कि ये टेस्टिंग एंड होमोलोगेशन है क्या. आपने पूरी प्रोडक्ट बना ली एंड देन यू फाइंड आउट कि बैटरी तो मैं प्रिज्मेटिक बैटरी डाल ही नहीं सकता बैटरी पैक में. सो नाउ you again have to rework the whole process, right? So it is better that at first hand you have a sort of document that a person can decipher to you and tell कि boss इस document के हिसाब से हम बैटरी में prismatic cell नहीं लगा सकते हैं तो हम नहीं लगाएंगे, right? Because that is the rule of the land. Every country has different testing and homologation rule and you have to carry that forward. So there are testing and homologation engineers as well who work in the EV domain, right? So that is also a very good skill set to carry forward. Okay, I will quickly unwind because I think we are running out of time. Yes, now automotive engineers, of course, you know that they were there in the past and they are right now also. those automotive sort of experience to design vehicle, steering system, brakes, suspension. That is, of course, not going to change a lot, right? Suspension, if previously we were using, let's say, air sockets, now also we are using air sockets. So the concept and mathematical modeling of the suspension will remain same. Brakes, let's say we are now using automated brakes, uh, anti-collision brakes, but at least the fundamental concept of brake is there, right? So somebody who has been into the automotive industry or is an automobile engineer would greatly understand this aspect. So it can be a diploma, right? Or diploma in automotive, polytechnic or ITI. I'm not very specific to engineering. I'm just using this because broadly, you know, the volume of engineers are in larger numbers. Uh, okay, just give me a minute. So, battery management system engineer, I already told you. Battery algorithm engineer, where more of computer science, electronic are better fitted. You have battery safety engineers who test the battery safety. They can conduct different sort of tests on the battery and find out whether your battery is safe enough. You have powertrain engineers. So basically, I told you that electrical engineers are there in that particular domain. Then you have telematics and data analytics engineers, right? So that is where most of your computer science background students will come into play. So I told you that like cloud computing and connected driving, which is now going to be a major focus. Uh, so all automobile companies are now collecting data. You will surprise that MG electric vehicle, which was launched way back, has now different data sets of almost uh, let's say that they have sold 50,000 vehicles in the market. So the data sets of 50,000 vehicles will now help MG Motors to develop the next generation of electric vehicle in much more uh, in much more, you can say, the model has already been learning from the mistakes or from the past experiences. So the new development which will happen will not have that sort of fault, because that would be removed, because the data sets has been collected by MG Motors in their server, right? So automotive companies used to collect the data. This is safe for the passenger as well, because they can send notification key at what time your battery is needing the replacement, right? Nowadays different models of electric vehicle systems are coming in the market. So you will find battery swapping. So now MG is selling vehicles without batteries so that they can cut down the cost. Now that would need a system where, if let's say that I'm a vendor, I have 1,000 batteries. People are coming to me and saying, ki, sir, I have bought a vehicle which do not have any battery. Can you give me the battery on rent? So that is a concept now which is going to come. I will give the battery on rent, but some identification has to be there in the battery, so that how the battery is moving on the supply chain can be can be traced out, right? कि ये बैटरी कहाँ से ओरिजिन हुई थी, कब इसकी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हुई थी, कितने लाइफ साइकिल्स इसके बचे हुए हैं. So next day it can happen that X person has taken the battery on rent and has returned the battery the other day, right? So now that battery will be utilized by someone else. So in that case, you would need expertise to trace that battery, and that's where the data or the sensors which will be embedded in that battery will be able to tell where the battery has traveled across the supply chain, right? And that's where you would need this sort of engineers. Then we have electrical engineers. I already have told you about this. Power electronics engineer who can work on ECU, electronic control engine. We have chemical engineers who work on battery pack and cell design, battery modeling and testing. We have thermal engineers who work on thermal modeling, thermal management of different vehicle components. Mechanical engineer, I already have told you. Embedded engineer, embedded is something which is now coming at a very, very use demand, because embedded was already there before electric vehicle were introduced in the market. Embedded technology was already in the place, but now with the advent of, or the launch of so many models of electric vehicle, the demand for embedded engineers has gone way higher. I was reading a report uh, of February this year that the volume of embedded engineers is now going to increase, because the semiconductor industry is also now looking for that similar skill sets, right? So uh, they are primarily work, if you see, for embedded engineer in this electric vehicle is for hardware and software testing. Their expertise is utilized in motor control unit, IoT, telematic system, battery management system, vehicle control system. Then you have embedded C, Simulink, AutoSAR. These are some of the softwares which are helpful for an embedded guy to work in the automotive domain. And then you have power electronics, which is also covering the embedded part for, like, you need embedded skill set for designing motor, inverter, converter, and chargers, right? Okay. Others, if you see other skill sets or the other areas apart from this, I think proto development engineer, EMI and EMC engineers. So these engineers work on the electromagnetic induction and electromagnetic compatibility. I will tell you how do you understand this particular term, EMI and EMC. A very basic example is that a car in Norway was going on a lane at a speed of some around 120 kmph. That car was an electric car, and there was a power line which was passing through the highway, which was not very far from the ground, but at a level where the charge that it was conducting was or can interfere with the vehicle. So the vehicle is running on the road. There is a power line which is going above it, and because of the interference of the charge which was flowing in the wire and the uh, electromagnetic waves which was there in the car, both of them sort of, there was an interference, and because of that the car system, the power train system, automatically got shut down, and that lead to a fatal accident. So EMI and EMC ensures that all the components of an electric vehicle are not interfering in the performance of other component, because every component, because there is charge involved in this, there is electrical charge which is flowing. So that charge will create some sort of electromagnetic waves. So now two components having that electromagnetic waves interfering with each other can create disturbances. So EM and AMC guy, what he does is he ensures that that sort of interference is not being created, right? So that is how EM and AMC engineers work. System architects and integration engineers, harness development engineers. This is something that those who have joined as a diploma guy or an ITI or a technician, there is a huge demand for wire harness engineers, because wire harness is again not very new. It was already there in the previous IC vehicle. Now the thing that have changed is the wire harness that is now being implemented in electric vehicle carries a lot more lot more complex wire system, complex connectors, because overall vehicle is running on electrical charge, right? So wire harness development engineers are very critical for your electric vehicle industry. Then you have testing engineers, as I said. Maintenance is something once you launch your vehicle in the market after doing proper testing, homologation, and certification, then comes the task of those people who are going to run the overall system of cars or two wheelers. And maintenance engineer is somebody who is able to fix the car or the two wheeler in case there is any breakdown, right? So you can call them as a service engineer, uh, or you can call them as a fault and diagnostic engineer, name it anything. But the troubleshooter who can solve issue which is there in the vehicle is the one who is working on the ground, and they are broadly classified as a maintenance engineers, right? And that's where most of the students who are there in the ITI diploma technique, polytechnic used to come. And this is where our country is lacking in, right? Every industry you go to Ether, you go to Honda, they will tell ki we would need people who can work as technicians. And it's not that the salary range for technician is low. I mean, the wages, if you find out the number of students who have passed out from DIY group in last probably 2 years, they started at 20,000 per month, and now they are earning around 40, 45, 50,000 per month. The basic thing is, like I told in the initial start of my conversation, that if you are confident enough that a problem which is thrown to you, you can solve that, or you have interest to know more about that, then your career is going to take a very exponential step. But if you start behaving in such a way that you are a very learned person, you know everything at what institute has given you, then your career is not going to grow. You might be on that stage where you are earning 2025, but it will be very straight line, right? So these sort of skill sets are very hard to find right now, but in particular battery motor technicians, or somebody who is able to read the charging station fault codes, or can maintain or repair or service those charging stations, are at a very huge demand. I think this was the slide. I forgot to make it next. Uh, these are electric car industry researchers. These are more like people who are working in the uh, R&D domain, which is like they will work on the next level of electric vehicle. They will work on how do they optimize the motor performance. So currently, if you see any electric vehicle, the overall motor performance or the motor efficiency range somewhere around 96, 97%, right? For a very optimized motor, I'm saying. Now, the task of these R&D engineers is to increase the performance, and that's where they might be doing postdoc. They might be working in uh, the actual R&D labs of companies like Mahindra or Tata, and their task is to increase the overall performance of different components. They can work on the optimization of overall frame कि अच्छे lightweight materials वो use करें, तो in that case the role of researchers comes into play. Now, for those who are working in the EV industry, and they are eager to explore further, so if you talk about the next thing in the areas of future mobility, of course, ADAS is something which is going to come in a long way. We have connected solutions, like I told you that there are different sort of communication channels which is now going to dominate the overall AV industry, where Wi-Fi enabled or vehicle-to-vehicle communication, vehicle-to infrastructure communication. That's where computer science expertise is going to play a major role. And uh, ADAS and shared mobility is something which is a concept for those who are doing management programs in electric vehicle domain. So it's a concept where what you do is you start to offer customized tailored solution depending on customer need, right? So आपने देखा होगा अपने शहरों में जो ये डिलीवरी के लिए जो फ्लीट्स आती हैं, राइट? सो जैसे ये ओला, सॉरी, अमेजोन की डिलीवरी डिलीवरी हो गई, या आपके big baskets and all that. They are now the last mile delivery platforms, right? And they are working on EV broadly, because आप जब कैलकुलेट करोगे ओवरऑल कॉस्ट कटिंग और कॉस्ट सेविंग, तो उसमें वो उनको ज़्यादा प्रॉफिट मिलता है. एंड देन आई थिंक all of them will go electric by 2028 2030. You will see none of them using any IC vehicle, right? So that's why this is some sort of concept that I teach in electric vehicle management classes. So with this, I think these were the broad areas where I thought you should have knowledge, but it's not very limited. I will not say that those who are electrical engineers cannot work in the CAD and CA domain. It's your interest. We are the one who will shed light on the areas. It might happen that even you as an electrical engineer would find some sort of interest in styling, right, in the sketching part of the vehicle. So it depends on you, right, where you want to go. Okay. Full screen metal fiber plastic. Sorry, I didn't know that this slide was not available, but anyways, Sapna, sir, it is possible for me to be in EV work from home job is possible. Hi, Sapna. I think it depends on the skill sets you are carrying, right? So uh, there are certain jobs like design areas where you can work with industry and take models and do the, but that is entirely on the type of industry you are applying for. I cannot say this, that okay, you can work from home in an EV. This is something that is entirely on the type of industry where you are applying for. Okay, any other questions you guys have, you can ask, or we can wind up the session. I think feel free to ask any questions you have. We are good to go. Okay, done. I think anyone from LaMiCon team? Okay, guys, if you don't have any question, we are good to go. Let's. Okay, if one has not any technical background, how he should start his career in EV domain? Now, for a non-technical guy, uh, I see that the the areas where they can be absorbed. I mean, post sales, right? The post production it is called. So either you can be a person who is from the non-technical background, who would understand the nuances of electric vehicle, like the fundamental aspect of electric vehicle, the basic knowledge of electric vehicle, and then you either become part of the operation side of electric vehicle. When I say operations, it can be that you are engaged in the EV domain as somebody who is taking care of different charging stations, right? Just 2 days back, I was there in Lucknow, and there I met with a person who was a commerce, who was from the commerce background. What he has done is he has set up 5 different uh, charging stations, and he used to charge 150 rupees per hour for a three-wheeler which has to be charged at his location. And at one time, I could see on an average there were around 15 vehicles, three-wheelers, which were there at one particular location. At one time, they were getting charged, right? So he is not somebody who is very who has knowledge of MATLAB or Simulink or any CAD or CAE, or he knows how the materials work. He is the one who understand that, okay, this is the place where I need this, this is the requirement of or the need of the hour, and he understand how electric vehicle works. He has deployed certain candidates who can take care of that, and he's running the show, right? Similarly, let's say that you can be deployed at a dealership location for a uh, managerial role, right? You are managing a fleet of staff who is taking care of electric vehicle. But to manage those staff, you need some basic understanding of electric vehicle. So I would not suggest a non-tech background guy to go through all the software nonsense that is there in the electric vehicle. Otherwise, what will happen is that will create unnecessary burden and unnecessary, you know, your self confidence will eventually get low if you are being treated as somebody who has no technical background, but you are again trying to understand how these softwares and everything work. If you are that sort of curious guy who can get your fundamental cleared by watching YouTube and all, good to go. It's better you go that way. But if you're not having any technical background, then you try to fit into the overall operational side of the post production phases. Right. That's how Satyam is answered. Okay. Great. So I think we have covered almost all the domains, and yeah, thank you so much, guys. We'll connect somewhere. If you have any other question, I think you can either you have my email ID, or I can you can write Avinash at diyguru.org, and I will be able to answer that. Great. Chalo, great. See you. Done. Have a great weekend, and I think enjoy. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Bye bye. Yeah. You want to say something, Weber? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yes, sir. Oh, sadly, I have one more session at 8:30, so I have to leave it. Okay. What if someone have knowledge of electronics but don't have any related degree? Okay, okay. That is not relevant right now. I mean, if you have knowledge of electronics, and if you can prove that by doing some prototype, let's say that you have good knowledge of electronic, if you can come to our office and prove us that Of course, you are good in electronics. You have done certain prototypes. You are better to work with hardware integration and all. I would be the first person to hire you, right? So now the industry does not care about degree. What broadly I have said, mechanical engineers, computer science, or all that segregation which I have done was primarily based on which areas you belong from, right? Even if you are not a computer science guy and you know how computer science programming work, or you are good with logics, you are good with data sets, feel free to reach out to us. We don't divide that based on कि आपके पास डिग्री हो या ना हो. Knowledge is more important, and on the ground real field experience is more important than your so-called degree. I know many of my friends who are running their unicorns, and if you ask them, the chief technical officer, for example, I will cite you an example of a company which is based out of Hyderabad. This is a they have a very big EV R&D team, and the CTO of that particular company is 12th pass out. Can you believe that, right? And he has done so many patents on his name. So nowadays, that whole sort of degree as a mandate is now not very well required by the disruptive companies. But of course, there are certain companies which would ask you for a formal degree, right? So depends on how you want to start your career and where do you want to start your career. So, skill is more important. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Vaibhav. I think, yeah, great. Cool, guys. Chalo, bye bye. Chetan, I think taking